back to Rudy Night. This is part 2 of my Rudy Night series. Please go watch the first part first. I will link it in the description or the pinned comment. And we're back with DaPhoneWomans' Rudy Night theory. This part is going to be about disproving every other night theory. I'm going to... I am going to talk about the most popular night theories, excluding vampires, going from least to most likely, in my opinion, giving my reasoning on why they, in my opinion, again, wouldn't fit the role as well as Rudy. Now, let us begin. Starting with Asgore, he does fit the size of the knight, and you could argue that the knight's antlers are kind of like this, where, like, the little protrusions are only, like, they're, like, part of the armor. But this theory evaporates after you consider that there is not a single thing that you could ever tell Asgore that would convince him to purposely hurt Chris. I just can't see it ever being the case. Next up is Carol. She's got the antlers, no question there, and I could definitely see her hurting Chris, but I'm gonna be honest, getting her hands dirty and directly fighting the Fun Gang isn't really that in character for Carol. She's more of the type to send someone to do that for her, and I also feel like she would be better as the red herring, not as the actual threat. Side note, these two theories, in my opinion, are both equally likely. I'm just covering them individually to avoid confusion. Our third suspect is Azrael. And this one is basically just Asgore Knight, but better. He's got the general size of the knight and the horn head spikes again. But unlike Asgore, I could see Azrael hurting Chris. But with a citation. The reason for Azrael being the knight needs to be a really good reason for Azrael to hurt his own sibling. But if it isn't, then I can't see it. Sorry. And finally, December. Des has basically everything. The antlers, the bat, the size, probably. And she's beaten Chris with a bat on multiple occasions. But my main problem with Des Knight is this. Unless you actually know about Des's appearance via the spammed in sweepstakes, code and voice in the code, etc., and why it matters to Deltarune, it wouldn't make sense. From a casual's perspective, Des is barely a character yet. There's that scene in Cyberworld, the one line of dialogue from Tenna and her room. That's literally all of the mandatory Des 10 in Deltarune itself. The rest is either not in the game, secrets that we mandate a walk through, and the previously mentioned Deltarune knowledge to find them, or literally impossible to find without a mod tool, or just... bleh. And maybe you can make the case that the Delta team is saving the Des lore dump for later, but I think that if the Knight was a character that had a consistent, visible role in the story, even just as a side character for a bit, that would be much more satisfying from a literary perspective, in my opinion. Now would be the time for the evidence for Rudy being the Knight. But I'm going to save that for the next part of this series. Thank you for watching.